What if tomorrow morning the global economy simply began to stop? Not because of a nuclear war, a deadly virus, or an asteroid impact, but because on one small island in the Pacific Ocean, the lights went out for just a few days. In the 20th century, oil ruled the world. But in 2026, power is measured in nanometers. Without them, you can't build an electric car, launch a rocket, or train artificial intelligence. We tend to think that technology is controlled by Silicon Valley or manufacturing giants in China. But the reality is far more unsettling. The future of modern civilization depends on a narrow strip of land just 390 kilometers long. Why are the world's superpowers willing to risk a global conflict over this island? And who is really holding their hand on the reset button of the modern world? This is the story of the Silicon War. To understand why Taiwan matters so much, we need to talk about a company you've probably never heard of. Yet this company quietly shapes every single aspect of your everyday life. The name of this world-shaping giant is TSMC. It is formerly known as the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Unlike Apple, Nvidia, Qualcomm, or AMD, TSMC doesn't design chips. And unlike Samsung, it doesn't sell phones or televisions. TSMC does only one thing. It builds the world's most advanced semiconductors. The processors inside your smartphone. The chips training artificial intelligence. The brains inside data centers, satellites, and advanced military systems. And today, no company on Earth can manufacture them at the same scale and level of sophistication. If Intel shuts down, competitors step in. If Samsung has problems, the market adapts. But if TSMC's factories stop running, the world's supply of cutting-edge semiconductors suddenly becomes dangerously small. And that is a significant problem for the entire global economy, because demand for these chips has never been higher. The massive expansion of artificial intelligence, the development of fully autonomous vehicles, the emerging field of quantum computing, the technology powering next-generation fighter jets and advanced defense systems. Every major technological revolution of the next decade depends on semiconductors, and producing them is harder than building a skyscraper, a fighter jet, or even a spacecraft. A single speck of dust can destroy a chip worth thousands of dollars. Some components are measured in nanometers, thousands of times thinner than a human hair, and the extraordinary machines needed to manufacture them come from only a handful of suppliers around the world, all of which raises an even bigger and more critical question for the future. If the entire world depends on these chips, why are so many of them made on one small island? Welcome to the choke point inside the choke point. To print these nanometer-scale chips, TSMC uses a machine called an EUV, Extreme Ultraviolet Lithography System. These machines are built exclusively by a Dutch company named ASML. A single EUV machine costs up to $350 million. It requires 3 Boeing 747s just to transport. And guess who buys almost all of them? Taiwan, the foundation of the global economy. Western politicians realized this extreme vulnerability too late. The United States and Europe are now spending more than $100 billion to build semiconductor factories on their own soil. But here is the brutal truth the industry rarely talks about. Money cannot buy time, not in the world of semiconductors. Even with unlimited funding, building and calibrating a modern semiconductor fab takes years. In 2026, TSMC's new facilities in Arizona and Germany are beginning production, but they are producing older generation chips. The crown jewels remain in Taiwan, protecting the silicon shield. The next generation of 2 nanometer and 1.4 nanometer chips that will power tomorrow's supercomputers are kept strictly on Taiwanese soil. Taiwan knows this. It is the heart of their strategy. It is their ultimate survival insurance policy. So what happens if the geopolitical tension boils over? Economists and military strategists look at 2 terrifying scenarios. Scenario 1, a total blockade. China surrounds the island, cutting off all maritime and air traffic. No chips get out. The global supply of semiconductors would vanish instantly. According to Bloomberg Economics, a one-year blockade of Taiwan would wipe out $10 trillion from the global economy. That is 10% of global GDP gone. Global trade would crash instantly. Electronics retailers would go bankrupt within weeks. Apple's revenue would drop by 80%. Car manufacturers worldwide would lay off millions of workers because they can't get a $5 chip to control the brakes. Scenario 2 is even worse. A kinetic invasion. If artillery shells or missiles hit TSMC's fabs, the factories won't just stop. They will be permanently destroyed. Some military analysts suggest that in the event of an unavoidable occupation, Taiwan might intentionally destroy its own fabs to prevent them from falling into rival hands. Without electricity, extreme purification systems, and foreign software updates, these multi-billion-dollar machines become useless hunks of metal within hours. The tech world knows it is playing Russian roulette. That's why we are witnessing the most aggressive technology race in modern history. NVIDIA is searching for new manufacturing options. Intel is reinventing itself as a global chip manufacturer. Samsung in South Korea is pushing boundaries to catch up. Everyone is searching for a plan B. But experts agree on one thing. Achieving true independence from Taiwanese silicon will take at least another decade. Building new factories is only the beginning. Developing the technology, training engineers, and mastering the manufacturing process takes much longer. Until then, the digital economy, artificial intelligence, and much of modern life depend on one thing: peace in the Taiwan Strait. But why is the risk higher today? Why is the tension reaching a boiling point? The answer is remarkably simple. It is the era of artificial intelligence. The AI revolution is no longer just a trend. It has become the new global technology race. The nation with the strongest AI infrastructure will shape the future. Military defense, cybersecurity, automated industries. Everything in our global society now runs on the power of intelligence. And intelligence runs on silicon. China now faces a major technological bottleneck. The United States has restricted China's access to the world's most advanced chips. Chinese technology companies cannot legally purchase the hardware needed to train the most advanced AI models. China is investing hundreds of billions of dollars to build this technology at home. But progress remains extremely difficult. The country still lacks the most advanced lithography machines. It also lacks critical manufacturing technologies developed over decades. As the technology gap continues to grow, the strategic stakes continue to rise. If China cannot produce these chips domestically, and if access to foreign technology remains limited, the pressure to secure technological leadership will continue to grow. Military exercises around Taiwan are no longer seen as routine. They have become a test of how the world might respond to a future crisis. We like to think of our world as digital, weightless, invisible. Everything floating in the digital cloud. We store our data in the cloud, imagining it is pure information. We stream our lives through high-speed digital connections. We talk to invisible algorithms, trusting them with our reality. But the physical truth of our digital world is very different. Modern civilization rests on something remarkably small. Just a few square kilometers of these ultra-clean factories. Built on one of the world's most dangerous geopolitical fault lines. The Silicon War isn't a conflict of some distant future. It is already happening across the entire globe. It is happening inside corporate boardrooms. It is happening in strict export controls. And it is happening in the deep waters of the Pacific. Every time you unlock your smartphone, you access this struggle. Every time an autonomous car makes a turn, it relies on this chain. Every time AI answers a question, silicon is at work. Somewhere inside that technology is a tiny piece of silicon born on a vulnerable island. The world hasn't stopped turning, not yet. But time is short. The reset button is already wired, and the whole world is holding its breath. If you enjoy documentaries that reveal the hidden forces shaping our world, please subscribe for more. Tell me in the comments, do you think the silicon shield will hold? Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next story. This is World in Facts,